Thank you so much to Brian, and thank you to Gabi for the wonderful introduction, and thank you to Ladama for spending some time. You've been on my radar for a while. These four Lamas that joined forces, musical forces, as thanks to the One Beat Fellowship Program. It's my understanding, according to Wiki Legend, they came from their individual lands to share their music and new compositions, and then jammed in it, and it was magic. And that must have been some jam sessions. So thank you. We have Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia, and the USA all represented here. And we started off, one of the things that struck me about Ladama, which from the very beginning was both the traditions and the roots, but freshly reimagined and in the context of Pan-American roots, not just one thing coming through, and this amazing synergy. So we started off in Brazil, we started off in Portuguese. So maybe we can start with Lara and Mafer, telling us a little bit about that particular video. And I know that we're also going to hear some instruments, and we're also going to hear acoustic versions of Oye Mujer, the new album. By the way, all of La Dama's music is uplifting and empowering, and especially in terms of women and womanhood, as befits La Dama and the Damas. So, and also tell us a little bit about, what you brought to the table as part of this quartet, and kind of maybe some of the surprises, like, this unexpected things that happened in this synergy. So thank you. And maybe we'll start with Lara, especially because of the Brazilian context of Nobreza. Yes. And also you handle really tough subjects like that one, and you can tell people more about that. Yet at the same time, like your spirits, there's hope. And I love that you're here at this particular time in this, pandemic time, because, we can use some hope in difficult times. Yeah. So gracias, Mafer. And Lara, tell us a little bit about Nobreza and what we saw.
Yes, thank you, Catalina. It's such an honor for us to be here talking to you and sharing what we've done in this new record. And you are part of our history, because we've been together once with another interview, so it's amazing to be back here. And you talk about the how we mix the traditions and the modern music. I think it's because all of us, we were born on the tradition. We had the tradition very strongly in our backgrounds. I remember as a kid going to the streets in my city, for example. We have in Carnival, the Carnival is very strong
Recife,
there. So,
Recife,
Recife,
right?
yeah. And so,
Recife.
you get to see a lot of groups, percussion groups in the streets. So I grew up in this environment, all of us. So I think it's very natural. It's not something that we force. Maria plays the bandola janeira since she was a little kid. I play Brazilian traditional instruments. Sara has her traditional way of singing and all her background, as well as Dani with the tambor alegre. And we mix with things we like to hear now. And I think we didn't plan that, we just do what we feel. And we like to say that we serve the song, because we are not... Actually, for the first record, we had the idea of mixing the rhythms, because we were getting to know ourselves and understanding what we had in common. And that's why we put these rhythms together. But for the new record, we were just like composing, writing music, and serving the song, adding instruments we thought would be good, And of course, because we record this record in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, I think there's a flavor, a Brazilian flavor somehow in the producer, which is Cassim. He's a Brazilian producer of the record. So we brought this a little more. And this song is called Nobreza, that we just listened to, and it's in English it's nobility. And it's about the struggle of people who work hard in Brazil at the beginning, but I think all over the world, in South America especially. And yeah, and how hard they work, and how hard they fight for their rights. But at the end of the day, like, they have this joy, and it's about it. Yeah, it has this message of hope, like you said before.
Wow. So I'm right next to you. I see Mafir with this amazing
Yes.
instrument. So tell us a little bit about that, and maybe play some music
Oh,
shortly.
yes,
And I
sure.
know there's a pandero somewhere, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
But
Well, hello everyone. Hello everyone. Hi Catalina. Thank you so
hola.
much. We are so happy to be here. Muchas gracias por la oportunidad. World Music Institute
Sí.
receiving us in this moment, in this window. For us, is a window to say hi to everyone, because in this context, I think everyone is trying to find a window to say hi, right?
Yeah.
Well, the instrument that I have in my hands right now is a traditional instrument from my country, Venezuela. It's called bandola llanera,
Mm.
and it's involved in Ladama in this band from the beginning. So I have the opportunity to develop the tradition in a context which is not the tradition of the instrument. So I have the opportunity to kind of like find my path through the music in a global context with a tradition in my hand. So um, the instrument sounds like a guitar. Some kids, when we are teaching, said sometimes like, "Oh, it's a guitar with less wood," but in general, it's not. It's just a traditional instrument. We have this form, have 4 string, and it's made with wood from the trees from my village. So I'm gonna play a song. I'm gonna play a song from the tradition. It's called Zumba que Zumba. Es un joropo,
Mm.
and I hope you liked it.
Yeah. And then the dancing that accompanies that usually is so amazing too. Like feet are so moving so fast.
Yes,
Can't
the
even
tradition
hardly
of the
believe it.
joropo is energía, just pure
Yeah.
energy, and I've been like enjoying the way that we share culture in Ladama, because when you share something, you have to explain every aspect to for real understand it. Like, what is the food around this music? What are the words around the music? What are the dance or the steps around this music? How is the environment around the music? It's
Yeah.
the way that we share culture,
And
and I
llanero is
think
plains. So this is, I don't want to say cowboy music, but it's definitely,
Mm-hmm.
yes, Los
yeah, kind
Llanos
of.
in Venezuela is the high plains,
Yeah.
and the culture around them is like agriculture, people like working la tierra,
Uh-huh.
working about food, about the cows, about the goats, and chickens, and it's like the music that they play is like to describe the context where they live and
Mm.
the connection with the nature. They feel inspired by the nature to compose, to create, to write music.
Wow.
And I think if we can say something about this tradition, is about the connection between the nature and the land,
La tierra,
how
¿no?
the people work in the land. Yeah, en la
Mm-hmm.
tierra, como viven en la tierra, and
See.
is just like showing the energy, showing the connection through the music.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Well, let's hear from Daniela or Sara, because I know that we'll come back and there'll be some more music. But um, I know that Sara's US and Daniela is Brasil, is eh, Bogotá, Colombia. Ya me estaba yendo por las ramas. And I should remember. And I think you are in Bogotá, Dani, ¿cierto?
Sí, yes, I am
Yes.
based in Bogota, and I was born in Bogota, the capital of Colombia, my country. I am here in my studio, very happy, very honored, very excited to be sharing with you a little bit of us, of the music.
Okay, and you've got a tambor alegre, ¿cierto?
Yes, I will show you the way I can, my instrument, the way it looks. This is an Afro-Colombian instrument. It was built in the Caribbean coast, but definitely brought by the enslaved Africans that were brought. And the skin of the head, cuero, as we say in Spanish, skin, it's from goat. And in the Caribbean region of the coast, we have several styles, like music and rhythms. I guess most of the people is familiar with cumbia, but there's bullerengue, tambora, porro, gaita, chalupa, fandango, berroche, different music styles. So I can show you one of them, bullerengue, just to give you a taste.
Sure.
This one is called El Loro y la Lora.
Which is two parrots, right? The
Literally, yeah.
boy parrot, little and girl parrot.
Exactly. El loro y la lora. El loro y la lora estaban loreando. Lolo y la lora estaban loreando. Yo por la reja estaba mirando trabajar. Compañera, trabaja. Trabaja de costado, trabaja. Trabaja, compañera, trabaja. Trabaja de costado, trabaja. El loro comiendo, yo trabajando. Loro comiendo y yo trabajando, trabaja. Trabaja, compañero, trabaja. Trabaja de costado, trabaja medio lado, trabaja, compañera, trabaja. Azúcar me llamo yo, azúcar, azúcar me llamo yo, azúcar, 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 azúcar.
Wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful, beautiful, so beautiful.
Bullerengue.
Bullerengue, so rich, right? All of those traditions. So do we want to hear kind of like one of your more contemporary compositions? Do we want to go there since we've heard a little bit of traditional? Sara, tell us more about the USA representing here in this Ladama quartet. Yeah.
So I'm from the US. I'm from St. Louis, which I believe we share in common,
so am I.
Catalina.
I forgot.
Yeah. And so I'm bringing a little bit of a different experience, but we always like to say, and it's really important to note, that all the roots of our music, whether we're in Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia, or the United States, they're all Black and Indigenous. And that's a really important aspect of how we came together in understanding kind of like the undercurrents of the culture that shapes all of the Americas. And so for me, because I grew up in St. Louis, and I don't need to tell you this, Catalina, but it's very rich culturally and musically. And I grew up in the belly of blues and gospel music. And so my traditional instrument is my voice. And one could argue the electric guitar is a very traditional United States instrument. So I would grow up singing freedom songs. It was very important to the culture and the community that I grew up in. And so a freedom song, for those in Europe and in other places might not have known what that means. It was part of the civil rights movement. You take old gospel music and you turn it into freedom songs that are secular, that everyone can sing. So you take My Hand on the Gospel Plow, and it becomes Keep Your Hand on the Gospel Plow becomes Eyes on the Prize. So it'd be a little something like this. Paul in Silas, bound in jail, had no money for to pay the bill. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Got my hand on the freedom plow, won't take nothing from my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. The only chains that we can stand are the chains of hand in hand. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. So that's kind of my traditional background, actually, and how I grew up in an oral tradition. But being in the United States has directly informed, the proximity to Mexico is actually really strong. And there's a lot of like, I don't know, brotherhood for lack of another word. And we all listen to a lot of ranchera music. And so this song that I'll play right now it's from Oye Mujer, and it's one of our new songs that we have composed ourselves, and it has a ranchera blues feel. And
there's some connections. I mean, rancheras, like, they hurt so good, and blues hurt so good. I mean, there's emotional connections. I want to remind everybody that we will take some questions at the end too. So put your questions in the Q&A. But yes, so tell us more about this song, the ranchera blues. Sorry.
So yeah, no, of course. This is so here's the electric guitar. It's really hard to hold up in front of this camera, but so this song is about Danny wrote the lyrics to this and the theme and everything, and it is about the earth, and it's a very appropriate song for right now because the United States is burning, and this song is about how if the earth burns, so do we, and so does our blood, and we are 100% connected, and we need to recognize that. So it's called Tierra Tiembla. Tierra tiembla, todo calienta, todo calienta. Tierra tiembla, todo calienta, todo calienta. La tierra calienta lo que está fuera de ti. El mundo poderoso que nos rodea, y por dentro algo se quema, se quema, se quema, se quema, se quema, se derrite la tierra que por mi cuerpo corre. Se derrite la tierra que por mi cuerpo corre.
Wow, that's like so, that and the freedom song and the connections. And thank you, yes, for mentioning that all of our roots are Black and Indigenous and Latin American. That's like what came together, in a cultural collision, kind of forced by the colonies, with European, clashing cultures, but the roots of so much of the music, which was a survival tool then and continues to be a survival tool now, comes from that spirit of surviving, sobrevivir, And so I love Oye Mujer, and I love the new album for many reasons, and one of them is the stories that are told. It's almost like like reading a book, but not. Sometimes, I mean, in terms of and one of the stories that is told is the story, and it's the stories of women, and one of them is Inmigrante. So, and I know that has the bandola, and that's the story, of course, that matters so much to us right now, in la situación de los inmigrantes. And so maybe we'll take it over to Lara and Mafet with the bandola to sing a bit of Inmigrante, again, an acoustic version of what's in Oye Mujer, and which means "Hey woman."
Yes.
It's a call to action.
Call.
It's a call. Yeah.
It's a call to action. Yes. When we decide to record this song in the album, we were trying to create an anthem for the immigrant status. The people generally connect the immigration status with the sadness, and we were trying to resignificate that, like cambiar el concepto. Let's change the concept of that as something general, because the general could make silence of different phases of that, like what is being an immigrant. We just create the song connected with the merengue, which is a rhythm with the people always dance, always enjoy, always smile around that rhythm. And then we recognize the power of the music to say many truths. So the chorus of this song say, Inmigrante, valiente caminante, which is like immigrant, the brave walker. So I'm gonna play a little bit about the song, and the version that we have in the album is with an incredible musician from Brazil, which is Spock. He have a beautiful sound, which is not connected with the merengue, but he brought his song, his music, his rhythms, his Brazilian rhythm in the context of the merengue, right?
And he played all the saxophones. He wrote the arrangement and played the saxophones.
Yes, I hope you like it. I'm gonna play the acoustic version. Okay.
Wow. And what's really lovely about that story is how the immigrant arrives with a recently sealed passport. And then that's kind of the slow part. And then you're like, and now the improvisation starts, which is really, in the music and in life, right?
Yes, and it's like, okay, this is your way. Actually, the chorus the chords that I'm playing there, like, it's a chorus who create tension, but it's not a bad tension. So it's like, what is that?
Yeah,
it's not something
happening,
like
something's about to happen.
What is happening?
next?
It's not like a dark chord, like it's not like it's not. It's kind of
it's like, ooh, where am I going?
Yeah.
¿A dónde voy? That song's about, kind of empowerment, an empowerment story of an immigrant woman. And then there's another song that I know that Daniela has ready for us in an acoustic version, which is a different kind of empowerment. Let's just put it that way. So I'll let Dani take that one.
It's I would say it's interconnected, the empowerment, because as feminist and musicians, and how we have connected feminism and music in this record, Oye Mujer. It's about, one thing is to being an immigrant, but one thing is what you are, an immigrant and a woman, you know, you're exposed to different oppressions. It's different when you're an immigrant and a woman of color, of indigenous, and you know, each country has different ways to behave with, because you know, it's all about behavior and consciousness, what we're saying in each story that you said, like the whole record, it's like a book. I love that reference, because the songs are connected, you know, and you as a woman that it's as a woman immigrating in another country, you still have desire, and you still are someone that is exploring your body, you know. So Misterio, it's
This is a
definitely
sexy
about
song.
this. It's this, yeah, it's the emancipation of our bodies and the invitation to explore our bodies, accept them, diverse, embrace them, touching ourselves honestly, and putting these themes on the table and on the public voice of women, you know, because to me personally, I was kind of sick of, there's so many sexy songs, but if you take a look, and most of those songs are written by men,
Yeah,
and
they're
how
not
they
that sexy.
expect us to be. And we have been, my generation grew up thinking that that's how, you know, there's a way to be sexy according to men, and that's, you know, freedom, everyone can just do and express their way. But I think it's beautiful for us as musicians and having this opportunity of traveling and see, like, United States, Brazil, when we were in Spain, like feminist, it's everywhere, feminism. So it's beautiful to have a song as the opening song of the record, is sexual emancipation anthem, sort of. If you can say.
Mystery. Para los que no
Mystery.
sepan, misterio, mystery.
And this has samba reggae feeling. One of the beautiful things of recording in Rio de Janeiro is that all these rhythms from this country were put on those songs. So this is Misterio. Me gusta tu ritmo fresco y me gusta el sabor de tu boca, como brisa de la mañana, como el aroma de la mar. Abre tu boca, ven y lame mi cosecha, prueba mi siembra, toca mi tierra, muerde mi miedo, desabróchame la piel. In Sama Mountain hay un misterio. Lo nuestro es un hechizo perpetuo arropado por el sol, la luna, el mar y el río de Nueva Orleans. Ouvre ta bouche, mange ma récolte, goûte à mon fruit, touche ma terre, mord ma peur, déboutons ma peau, dans ma montagne, il y a un mystère. Abre tu boca, ven y lame mi cosecha, prueba mi siembra, toca mi tierra, muerde mis miedos, desabróchame la piel. In Sama Mountain hay un misterio.
Bravo, bravo. Someday y'all have to go to Google or somewhere and translate those lyrics for yourselves if you don't speak. They're beautiful. They're poetic. They're amazing. We do have.
Thank you so much. The middle of the song and this poem in French, just as a,
Yeah.
you know, something about the
Yeah, there
record.
was a little voulez-vous coucher. No, there
It was
wasn't,
because
but-
we were playing in. No, yeah, but we were in Lafayette. You know, we were touring the States, discovering your country, which is a country that you full of surprises. You know, as a Latina, if you don't go to the States, you have the conception of what you see on TV, which is, you know, white, blonde, blue-eyed kind of person. You know. But when you go into the country, into the States, you find that there's diversity in terms of nationalities, races, culture, you know, and we were in Lafayette. So it's this
Louisiana,
place
right
in
at the-
Louisiana. My favorite state in
Yeah.
United States, because everybody is soulful. I honestly felt like I was in Latin America. But yeah, Lafayette, everyone was speaking French the festival we play at was beautiful, and I was kind of surprised. I was like, okay, that was kind of the beginning of the inspiration for Mystery, like 2 years ago, before we started the whole production of Oye Mujer.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I love Louisiana too. We could spend some time there too, and it's got that a lot of what the flavors that you're kind of bringing in. I mean, it's like the U.S. Has the Brazil and the Black and the Indigenous and just all those combinations and the best food.
Oh, yes.
Really, the tastiest,
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
So there's a couple questions, but one that we haven't, we did say at the beginning, but what year did you form the group? That was 20, Daniela, or 20,
16.
or 2016?
16.
14 was the year we met, right, Lara?
Okay.
Yeah, we met in 2014 in One Beat at our residency. That was when our story began. But then 2016 was actually when we began touring as a band and activating the plans we were working on for a year or so.
And you were all part of the One Beat Fellowship, so you had come from Venezuela and Colombia and the U.S. and you come together, and Brazil, come together in the fellowship to share, to compose music, right? And that was part of the fellowship, and then that brought Las Damas together to form Ladama shortly thereafter. So we'll continue to address questions as that in that we have still a few minutes left, fortunately. So we're gonna, I know, besides other kinds of possibilities, we're gonna hear the song that we started with. So, and get a little taste of, Lara's instrument. So this is Nobreza, but it's from the video, but this is an acoustic version of Nobreza, nobility, and a story about our essential work, the essential workers, and hope in a difficult situation. So
Yeah, sure. I in the record I play drums on that song and percussion, but here I'm gonna play the guitar for you guys. So de raízes negras e indígenas, da mistura das cores, todas as culturas, em cima da terra que é uma só, suando no sol, molhando na chuva. No fundo do mar que nos navega, na trincheira, na luta por dignidade, haja fé e saúde pra ganhar o pão, haja força e coragem pra no coração. Assim, assim, batalhar. Aqui, assim, nobreza, cantando o sagrado e o profano, abrindo caminhos, pedindo proteção. A força da gente que é uma só, tá nos olhos, nas veias de toda a nação. Aqui, assim, batalhar. Aqui, assim, nobreza.
wow.
Yes, this
Wow,
is
thank
Nobreza.
you. That's Nobreza. So encouraging people again to submit some questions, use the Q&A. We'll be happy to get to them in the last minutes. But in the meantime, so I have a question, and this is for whoever, or if everybody wants to take a turn. How does the composition process work with the different influences that you come, the different instruments? Does somebody take the lead and bring do you workshop it? Are there there's some challenges in that process, fights, knockdown. No, I mean, how do you work out the composition, you know, and how does that get, how do you get from where you start to the end with this many instruments and influences and perspectives and, you know, mastery of so many genres in a way? And
Well,
yet it doesn't become a mishmash anywhere. That's what I love. It's not like, oh, this is Pan American, and it's like, who knows what that is? I mean, yeah, you know, it's got a feel and a flavor. Yeah.
thank you so much for that. In the beginning, when we wrote our first record, we really wrote that record as us learning each other's rhythms, our languages. And, you know, it was a whole process of discovery. It was a different process of discovery. I didn't speak Spanish at the time, and Maria didn't speak English, and we were, you know, trying to understand how we even played instruments and where we came from. And so a lot of those songs in the first record were built on these cross currents of rhythms, like Porro Maracatu is 2 rhythms that we put together to make that hit. And then the second record, we really started with more of like a lyric writing and conceptual beginning. And we, for the first record, we were on tour the whole time, just writing songs furiously on tour, and in the countries that we had gone to each other's countries, where we were producing workshops and free shows for children and the public. But for the second record, we actually had the opportunity to do a couple residencies, and we started writing songs in duos. So for the most part, almost every song on this album is from a duo experience. So Inmigrante was Maria with Danny, and Tierra Tiembla was Danny with me, and Nobreza began with Lara and myself. And so each one of the songs was kind of incubated that way. And then once the idea was there and the essence, it was brought to the group to be arranged. And we arranged everything. The musicians who were brought in later on the record arranged what they did, like the saxophones and woodwinds. And we have this amazing bass player, Pat Swoboda. He's not here today, but he's incredible. He arranges the songs with us. He's an incredible musical collaborator. And so it's this incredible collaborative process. And that's how that happened. That's how Oye Mujer really came to be. And we really focused on themes, on temas. You know, this was about what we wanted to say in this record.
We have a couple questions. So tell us more about the circumstances that brought you all together. Like, we know it happened during 1B, but was it like instant chemistry, or was it a jam, or what, you know, how did, tell us how the 1B brought you together. Daniela is saying, yo.
I would say it was kind of immediate, first love at first sight, amor a primera vista. I remember with Lara and Maria, before we came to the States, we were talking through Facebook because, you know, Latinas and the Spanish basically. And I don't know, I guess when we met, we hugged strongly. I do remember that. With Sara, the connection was also very powerful because of her interest in learning Spanish, which back then she didn't speak today she does, you know, like that's one of the, you know, process and learnings that we have in the band, like having a little bit of everyone's culture in our lives for the rest of our lives, and that's beautiful. So we began writing a song called Confesión. It's part of our first record. Maria was kind of recitando the words of the song about a woman singing to the moon, to her solitude, and how important as women is to understand that being alone, it's totally fine and totally powerful too, regardless of what, you know, society might teach you. Maria didn't speak English the way she does back then, so I had it to be the bridge, the translator. Like Maria was saying, she was deeply inspired.
Mafer,
we were,
right? Mafer?
Yeah, that's Mafer.
Okay,
Mafer
sorry,
was.
porque siempre se nos. I know it takes me 2 seconds. So yeah, Maria Mafer, aka artistically Mafer Bandola,
aka Mafer, or Mayfer, how some of our friends call her. But she was talking about the lyrics of the song. I was telling to Sarah what was the meaning, and that was Sarita's first song in Spanish, and we recorded back then like a version that then we didn't knew it became part of the record. We became a band, but also you said this at the beginning, like it was a synergy with all of us, but it was not only because we are women and we kind of like the same music styles. We have been educators as well, and we had always had social conscious about how powerful is the each opportunity we have to play a show and to impact communities only with one song. And we were very conscious of it, I guess, especially Maria had the seed of the social idea of this project, because that's why we are Ladama project on Instagram and social media. It was the social aspect was the original motivation, not even being a band, that was kind of, now it's part of everything, of course. But Maria told us in the table, chicas, I want you to come to my neighborhood, to my barrio, Cruz Blanca in Barquisimeto in Venezuela, because girls need different role models. Girls need to understand they can travel, they can be professionals, they don't need to be mothers to fit full their existence. And she was very sure that if they saw a woman like any of us with a tambor, with an instrument, playing drums like Lara does, and it became like a powerful activity. That was the first thing we did. We went to her neighborhood. We performed free workshops and free concerts for communities. But the idea of Maria was so powerful that it extended to all of our countries. You need the same thing in Colombia. We need more arts and more socially engaged ideas because, opportunities for girls in Latin America are not good. Latin America is the dangerous places in the world for women. So I guess it's beautiful to have that mission in common as Aris. That was the beginning, but there's so many connections. You have no idea. Even like Sarah and Lara, they are like disco queens, and like they love Carol King, and they have their own, bond. It's like there's so many layers of it, but we're really different. Like the personality of each of us. Also, we learn in this process is not defined by our nationalities. It's not because I am Colombian. It's not because, X or Z or Y. It's because we are the way we are. We are humans, and we had to go beyond this cultural barrier to being able to create all of this music. Because as you say, there were not fights, but there were there's always challenges. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Ladama. To me, every time that there's those moments of we have to argue, we have to say what we think, like we have to, and it's totally normal to not think the same, it would be kind of contradictory for us, like, oh yeah, we think the same, we want the same, and that's it. No, it's like we're different, and we find the positivity of the good side of it.
Wow, lessons for life, right? Always. That's we can be different and still find common ground, no? So somebody asked about the Tiny Desk performance. Was it, that's the first time they saw you and they loved it? And so did you see that as a huge, not a huge, but a big, important step in growing your audience? And what did that bring you after that? The Tiny Desk. No? Sarah. Yeah. Sarah's like reaching in.
Okay. We can answer that. Yeah, so yeah, it was a surprise for us when we got invited. But actually, we met Felix Contreras. He was in our show, one show that we did in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he introduced us in the show, and he saw us playing live, and then he invited us. It was like really unexpected, and yeah, for us, I mean, every musician loves Tiny Desk, right? So yeah.
It wasn't expected, but it was a desire. Like we were
Yeah,
like,
we never imagined that we
Desk.
would go, and then the opportunity was there for us, and it was amazing because a lot of people who didn't know us got to know and got to see. People came to talk to us. And one day was really interesting. We were in Berlin, all of us. We were touring there last year, and we were walking on the street, four of us. And then one lady came. I saw you in Tiny Desk. I was like, that's amazing, because it has a reach,
Right, right.
yeah, a wide
Surprising.
reach.
La
Yes,
Tiny in Latino America,
yes,
La Tiny, or El
La
Tiny.
Tiny,
yeah, well,
Tiny,
tiny.
yeah,
Even places you don't imagine.
yeah.
And one important experience about it is like the musician who go and perform in that air in that space should know that it's like a really friendly place. And sometimes you feel like so scared about like playing Tiny Desk is like, oh my god, terrifying. But actually all the people around, all the crew is in charge to make you feel like it's your home.
Yeah.
So
It was
I have to say that like it's not just to play there and have million of you. It's just like have the experience to work with an incredible and professional crew. You have to rehearse all your song. You have to rehearse what you have to say because it's short time, and it's like gold. No, es oro. Like playing
Uh-huh.
Tiny Desk, your time, your sound specifically is important, and it's just like it's a place where you're gonna play with your friends. Will be like that. So if you are expecting to play in Tiny Desk, make sure that you are gonna enjoy it and you are gonna practice before, and you are gonna work with an incredible crew there. And of course,
Wow.
we have
Yeah,
to
it
say
was a great.
forever thank you for the opportunity to Felix Contreras and NPR crew. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Well, I know that I hear the church down the street. I have bells. So I know we're almost out of time, and we do have a couple questions. So I'm going to say, if people want to reach out, one of them is very interesting about the 1960s U.S. civil rights and modern environmentalism, which is the topic for a whole other hour. Maybe the World Music Institute can invite us back for another hour. No, I'm just teasing. And as well as the new post-COVID reality. So if people wanted to reach out, what would be the best way to reach out to, check in and maybe get, some more perspectives? Would it be like your Facebooks or your Instagram? What would you say? That just through social media, you'd welcome?
It's just to ask us questions.
Yeah.
Oh, please, we have, please go to our website. I know that they're going to send to everybody in the audience, you're going to get a follow-up email, and it's going to have our NPR Tiny Desk concert, our website, and also our new web store. We're selling our album, and we're selling t-shirts and mugs. And that's, I have to say to people, because they might not understand what's happening in the music industry, but there's no more work. And actually, that's the only way that you can support us financially is through buying our record and buying our merchandise. So that's very helpful. But we welcome any questions. You can email us and through our website, and we would be happy to answer anything. Please, we're open, and through social media, Instagram, Ladama Project, Facebook, and Twitter. Please talk to us. We love talking.
Somebody wants to know if you have a PayPal.me account to donate. I don't check with them directly. But hey, there's an idea there. I know that it's wonderful, and I'm very thankful to the World Music Institute and other institutions that are really trying to make this not really yet post-COVID, but this COVID reality workable at least a little bit for musicians. And it's been such a pleasure to share some time with Lara, Mafer, Daniela, and Sara Ladama. But I'm not gonna let you guys leave before Lara plays the pandeiro briefly and tells, because it's the only instrument that I thought about. So tell us a little bit about the pandeiro, Lara, and take us out, and then we'll say thank you and bye-bye. Gracias.
Yes.
Gracias a todas. Yeah.
So yeah,
Muchas
pandeiro is
gracias.
gracias Catalina. Un gusto. Such an honor again to be here with you. Yeah, so pandeiro, it looks like a tambourine, but it's a Brazilian frame drum, and it's an old instrument, more than 150 years. I mean, the instrument is really, really old. But in Brazil, it arrived at the end of the 18 something. Yeah, 1890 something. And it got famous with choro, the rhythm choro, and then samba. But nowadays you can play anything using the pandeiro, any kind of rhythm, and you have even people all over the world playing jazz, playing other styles, and uh, taking the pandeiro further. So yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit for you. Vamos fazer um elo, um elogio ao relógio. Vamos fazer um elo, um bate-papo ecológico. Vamos fazer um elo, um elogio ao todo. Vamos fazer um elo, um elogio ao nada. Vamos fazer um elo, um elogio a ela. Vamos fazer um elo, um elogio à vida. Que a luz de cima vai do lado de cá. Yeah. I played a rhythm that's a mix of rhythms, but it's basically coco, which is a Brazilian traditional rhythm
Wow.
from my state in Brazil.
Such joy, such joy in your music and such power. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you so much.
Gracias.
Yeah,
Thank you for
your homes,
being
your
here with
space, your talents. And I know there's going to be a lot of information sent out in terms of how people can reach you and get more information and hear much more, which I know everybody will want to. And thank you, Gavi. Gavi's back to close us out. Muchas gracias. Thank you all. It's everybody stay safe and healthy and well. And when you get really down and out, listen to any song on that album.
Please.
Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, such a pleasure. So incredible. Thank you.
I feel
Thanks,
so
everyone.
happy finishing the week with you guys. Thank you so much.
Puts you in a great mood, and we cannot thank you enough for inviting us to your homes. Thank you so much. Thank you all of our attendees to spending this time with us, and please come back. Tomorrow you will receive the email with all of the information, with links to videos, to websites and everything. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks, or also on September 23, when we launch the season with our first virtual concert. We're all learning new things in these new times here. So thanks again for your interest and for your support, and see you again soon. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Catalina. This was great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.